Hello, guys. Welcome to the first official episode of the show. I am joined by pretty much, can I call it the Mount Rushmore of New England motocross, kind of? I don't know who else I would put on mine besides these four guys sitting right here. So I am joined today by John Dowd, Keith Johnson, Doug Henry, and Mike Treadwell. I'm lucky enough to have known these guys most of my entire life, but in case you guys aren't familiar, we're going to get you guys, if you don't know, now you know, kind of deal today. So we've got them a little liquored up. Just kidding. Only Tread.
They're all liquored up. Don't let them kid you.
It was Tread.
I might have initiated everything, but it's still good.
As always.
Bad influence.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, we're just gonna get rolling here. We've kind of already started riffing a bit, but yeah. So Tread has a lot to say today, so I'm just gonna pass it on over to him to get things rolling here.
What do I have to say?
I'm kidding. I'm totally putting you on the spot here.
I think this is the first time ever he's had nothing to say.
The first time ever. I don't really.
What's the date today?
I need a question before I can.
What's the date today? September 15th. Tread had nothing to say. Stamp that in history.
That's a pretty good thing to happen.
Carl Guinness.
Yeah.
Perfect. So
even with nothing to say, he still has so much to say.
yeah, when he says nothing at all, he still says so much. Anywho. So I kind of know where I want to start this off. Basically, the timing of this is really funny. This episode in particular is the one I've really been wanting to do since I had the idea of doing a podcast several years ago. It took me a few years to kind of get serious and commit to it and get some sponsors on board and just really make it happen. But I always said this was the episode I wanted to do, a roundtable with these guys right here. They've all had their fair share of interviews or press at some point, but I think what's been missing is just these guys all sitting together and talking shit. So that's what we're going to accomplish today. But the timing is funny because I messaged Tread, 2 weeks ago now? I texted you and said, hey, what would you think about, getting the guys all together? And 3 days later, I look at Instagram and RacerX posted that they had an article about the three of you guys in the October issue.
All four of us.
Or all four of you guys, yeah. And I had no idea that was happening until it rolled out. So I just thought the timing of that was kind of funny, that you guys were already.
So I'll just chime in real quick. So you're right. I think the timing is perfect because we were just talking about this at dinner, actually. So we took a picture one day. We were all working a couple weeks before the National or a week before the National, and we were all out there. I think it might have been just us working that day, or there's a bunch of people, but we took a picture of us four. Doug was in the skid steer, and John was doing his thing, and Tread and I were all working, and Tread wasn't actually working that day, but,
Hey, somebody has to keep you guys in
listen,
line.
in Tread's defense, I did have him busting his ass a few days before that setting poles, but that particular day he wasn't actually working.
I can't help out.
But it was cool because Davey Coombs had messaged me and said, hey, can you send me that picture? I want to write up an article. And we were just talking about this at dinner. I want to write up an article about Southwick and how all you guys, grew up racing together and smashing bars and, killing each other. And now here you are, building a track for the National guys. So I sent him the picture. We did this cool article and it popped out. And then it was cool because a lot of people didn't realize, even Davey didn't realize that, they knew that John was involved from the beginning as far as track dozing, but they didn't know Doug came in to help with all the National stuff and making everything look pretty and spending days and days and days in a skid steer, making everything look pretty. And Mike, as much shit as we give him for not working, he actually did work
1 year. Like with them poles when
1 year.
Set that stage. I don't know what stage that was. That was a big
2000
VIP.
something.
Listen, I make shit happen, Doug.
Hey, if you work really, really hard 1 year, that can carry you for
it
a
does.
year
It makes shit happen.
I heard it was a lot more delegating than anything else.
Listen,
but I guess that still falls under the work category.
You guys have to learn to delegate. I make shit happen. It doesn't matter how it happens.
That's all right.
I make shit happen. You guys just gotta. You know what? You might want to take a couple classes with me.
Listen, I got proof of him working and actually sweating. So, I know you probably started the day at 250, and you probably ended at 241, 242.
Right,
I don't know.
It was a really hot day.
Yeah.
But he worked.
Yeah, so you're right, Tayler. The timing was cool, right? Because you starting this whole thing is fantastic. But you know, a cool article came out in Racer X about us four just building the track. And Davey was like so super pumped about, you know, 4 guys. These 2 guys had much more success than Mike and I did, but the knowledge between us all in building a track. And one of the things that came out in the article was, like, sometimes you get tunnel vision looking at the track, and then these guys will come in. I get tunnel vision, and then John will come in, or Doug will come in, or Mike will come in and say, hey, what about this, and this? You know, think about this. And it's just cool to build a racetrack that way with these 3 guys. So I agree with you. The timing was cool.
Especially considering that Southwick in particular is such a big part of all 4 of you guys' stories, and kind of, you know, being able to be a part of the revival of it, of course, but also the day-to-day of putting together the national in particular. That's got to be really special for you guys.
Yeah, I think for me, Southwick, it was the first race that I sort of kind of went and watched in New England. I went and saw a race at Ace, a kid in middle school. He went and raced there, so I went and watched him race, and then I saw a NESC schedule on my local dealer, Libby's. Like, that's where I kind of got a couple of bikes from. And so Southwick was coming up a couple weeks later, so we said, oh, my dad and I were like, let's go check it out. So we went and, you know, went up to the race, local NESC race, and it was pretty cool to watch, just kind of see how everything worked. And I had I think at 84, I don't know, I got 2 of them from Libby's that you know, 82 and 84, and I'm not sure, I think it was 84, and there was a guy riding around, and the smell of 2-stroke, like, for me, I was just running whatever they had at the Libby store or whatever, probably Yamalube or whatever was at Walmart. I don't know. No, there probably wasn't Walmart back then. Caldors.
Maybe it was Klotz back then. I don't know. That was a pretty long time.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, but just going to the races and smelling it. And I remember going around this kid, Nico Lavoy. He was one of the riders. Nico. And he had the same bike as mine. And I went over there, and I was looking at his bike. You know, my dad and I were hanging out his little pit area and, like, looking at his bike. And he had, like, a DG pipe or something like that on that. And we didn't know nothing about races. So he said, what's that pipe for? What's that thing's for? And he goes, gives him more horsepower. And I was like, I kind of thought to myself, that was the first words I heard out of his mouth. And I was like, okay, horsepower. All right. Horsepower. Yeah, so, but anyways, I kind of, exactly 2 weeks later, we ended up going to Southwick, and that was my first race. Like, had like a bib with painted numbers on it, and my dirt bike had painted numbers on it. And got second my first novice race on 80, and then, I don't know, something happened, like, I overjumped, like, where JoJo did the scrub, and then didn't finish the second race. It was my first race. It was my first race. It was success to me.
So
that's actually, sorry, that's kind of, I never knew that before, but the first time I ever raced at Southwick, I actually went and watched my friend Jeff Ferrer. You guys know Jeff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't racing. I went and watched him at Southwick, and I was like, oh my God, this looks like so much fun. You know, I gotta try this. But my first race at Southwick, over the JoJo jump, I overjumped it, knocked myself clean out.
Yeah,
I was like done with it. I don't even remember that.
Mom says you're not racing anymore.
Yeah, done. I remember waking up, and everybody was like looking at me, and but I never knew that about you. At Southwick. That's funny.
That's funny, Doug.
Yeah.
So it's funny that so Ziggy, Factory Connection, Ziggy, and everything. So I grew up racing with Ziggy, and me and KJ were like friends with Ziggy from 1983 on, and so Ziggy's dad's selling his house, and he's been pictures up the wazoo, like insane. There's a picture of us, and can you hear me? Yeah, sorry. So there's a picture of us, Doug. That, like, I don't know. I was actually just looking at my phone, and you were number 369 on a Cowie, and 85, and you had been, I think you were novice in 85, right?
Yeah, broke my arm the first race. Yeah.
Yeah. So hilarious that so me and him were like going back and forth, winning the championship in the fall series in 85.
777, Mike Treadwell.
Baby. And
787 was Steve.
787.
Yeah.
So literally, it's been like insane. I've been dying laughing. Today I text him. He texts me every morning with a different picture. Like, it's been going on for like probably 6 weeks now. Like, every day he texts me a picture. And but it was funny because like I don't know how many days ago I was just trying to find it, but it keeps saying download picture, and I was just trying to download it. Couldn't friggin' find it. But and you hole shot the moto, and me and Ziggy were like kind of like second and third, and I was like, yeah, I think I beat you that moto. And he has like a list of he kept track, I guess, of every finish that he had with the motos. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, that was a prelude to the future because Dougie's gone. Like, and you were like a novice before that, and then you were amateur, and you had hole shot the moto, and I was like, oh, God damn it, that guy.
I was light.
Yeah,
you know,
were,
like,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but it was totally comical because a couple days ago, he's like, hey, that was a prelude to our future because Doug was gone in that moto. I was like, yeah, that's perfect, you know? So it's good. You know?
Doug had that effect on people.
Yeah.
Back then.
Well, you did too.
He had that same effect on me. I remember it really well.
I was that the next year I was 85 dealing with him, and then 86 I got fifth in my first expert race, and I thought it was a badass. And you had won the amateur championship in the spring, and then like 2 weeks later I was like, who the hell is this John Dowd dude? Like, he's beating me. I'm like, I thought I was the guy. You know what? Whatever.
Racing was pretty weird for me too. I really had no like knowledge of any kind of racing. Like, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know Doug or, you know, Keith, Tread, any of these guys. I just kind of showed up with my buddy Jeff, and I happened to be kind of good on a bike, so I just started racing, and I kind of managed to get going pretty quick.
So what was your first race?
85.
Actually,
it was at Charlemont. That mud race?
The ski race.
Yeah, you remember
the
that
ski
one?
mountain. Yeah.
That was my very first
was there.
one. The mud one, yeah.
I got photos of that somewhere.
And my second race was at Southwick, where I knocked myself out. So I had.
So where did you know?
Your mom didn't want you racing.
On the JoJo.
Yeah, my mom was not on board, you know, too much. But
how'd you do at Charlemont?
Do you remember? You know Russ Stetson?
A little bit.
He was like this was in the open novice class too, you know.
Chameleon knows him.
I do. I know.
Yeah. Well, he was the guy winning the open novice class and he beat me that day. But I just remember, I didn't know nothing about racing. He was in this. It was long mud ruts, and he had fallen, and I came into the same rut. I just like drove right into him I had no other idea what to do. Our bikes were like literally side by side in the same rut, and we're both like trying to pick our bikes up, and we're kind of wrestling and trying to start the things. And he ended up beating me that day. But that was my first race. I didn't even know I was that guy. Like, when they put the 30-second board up, I was like looking at the gate. I was like, I don't know, when's the gate going down? I didn't even know when the gate was supposed to drop.
Do you remember when we used to do that with Netta?
Yeah.
Dowdy had a good friend, Mike Netta, that was a novice. So we would go down to the line with him.
I think he still is.
Yeah, he still is a novice. But still, we would go down to the line with him and be like, all right, start your bike.
That was
right
when that was when Tread used to goon on all the novices.
Yeah, exactly. We used to go love messing around. We'd go down and we'd be like, all right, start your bike right now. He would start his bike, rev it up, and then everybody would start the bike. We're like, okay, shut your bike off. And everyone would be like fucking revving their shit out of their bikes and shit. And like the 2-minute board's not even up, and they're like revving their bikes. And we're like, yeah, just sit here right now and let them do all the shit. And like when the 30-second board goes up, start your bike up and then get ready to go. You know, you would think, he didn't know what was going on, but it was awesome. We used to just go mess with him.
And he listened.
Novice.
He did. He listened. He
listened. Novice class guy.
Yeah.
You know,
fire up his bike.
I didn't know.
Somebody
I didn't
fires
know
up their bike.
Anything about what to do in a novice
fires up
class,
their bike. You know.
So how old were you? This is a big conversation, of course, when people want to talk about your career, John. How old were you at that first race when you first?
I was 20.
Okay. So I want to pinpoint that real quick for people, because let's really think about that for a sec. Let's take a step back. In an industry now where, I mean, let's look at the 250 class right now, dominated by a 19-year-old who just came off of his second outdoor championship back-to-back, also a supercross championship in the mix there, and he's 19 years old. The industry is largely marked by these kids who go through, they spend their whole teenage years at training facilities and kind of built for this kind of thing. What is your perspective on like your journey starting later in life and still finding success for people who might be listening, and just what is your perspective on all of that and how your road to where you led was totally different?
I mean, I've kind of said this a bunch of times over the years, but I mean, it's I always thought it was pretty easy for me. I was a little older, but I was already working full time. construction work and at the junkyard, you know, and which is a real thing, by the way. My family used to own we still do own a junkyard, but
That's where the name came from.
yeah, hence,
really a joke.
hence
It's not
junkyard.
like-
It's actually a real place.
We used to have to go there and
Yeah.
pick him up and go
still
riding.
go there
and-
and get-
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
People
it's
like,
it's
"Oh,
kind of cool to go look around and
Hey, he's gonna make us go to work for a little bit.
yeah.
Which me and Keith didn't like at all.
My dad didn't really like me racing. He fired me like 5 different times over when I first started racing. He was like, "Yeah, you know, you got to work and you."
That's family business, though.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
I mean-
but for me, when I made expert and I made like, I don't know, I think the first time I got like 9th or something, and I made, I don't know, $20 or 40, whatever it was. I was like, holy crap!
I made it.
I can make some money doing
I think
this.
it was 35, John.
Yeah,
I remember.
exactly.
Maybe it was 35 bucks. I don't know.
I paid 40 to enter, but I made 35.
That's a win.
I made it.
35 ahead.
Yeah.
I beat Tread that moto too. I think
Yeah,
that's all I
this is-
cared about.
this-
But,
That's
this-
important.
I made it, dude. I'm living large right now.
but I just remember thinking, man, you know, I didn't even realize you could actually make money doing this thing. So, you know, at one point, it kind of the light bulb went off, and I was like, man, this is really cool. So it wasn't really you know, it didn't seem like a whole lot of work for me to
Right.
put in a little more effort and you know, try to get myself a little better at it. But
Did you practice your wheelies?
I could never do wheelies. And, you know, every time I watch JoJo do wheelies, I just really would get depressed because I still can't do wheelies. I never could. But JoJo can do wheelies with like one hand, one foot, you know,
Remember all the
looking
shit We
backwards.
used to do at our house in Florida, and we were like, tried to be like other people, and like, remember JoJo used to do so much shit with a bicycle and all that.
Remember the
stuff?
time he came in the house? There was a bike. Somebody had a street bike in the garage, and he came in and like did a handstand on the street bike on the kickstand.
Yeah,
And JoJo.
yeah, and we were
He's not like-
we were always like, oh, we suck. We can't do that. We're horrible.
Didn't you say when he was? Did you see him ride a
Basketball
wheelie
shit.
on a railroad track or
Volleyball.
something when he was a kid? Yeah.
We were depressed because like JoJo was so good at all these things, golf and playing volleyball. Remember the volleyball games we used to play?
Oh,
we used
yeah,
to
he was good at
con
everything.
we used to con the people that own the
All right, Mike, stop talking for a second.
sorry about my
He's
bad.
just going to go off. He'll keep going forever.
Yeah, exactly. Forever.
So going back to what your original question was to him, it's a cool question because what he did will never happen again.
No.
It'll never happen again because you're right. All these kids get groomed from from the time they're this big, and then all through the facilities. And
Right.
in their pros, like look at Hayden Deegan, right? I mean, he's barely 16, 17, and pushed right in. And that's what's going to happen with all these superstars. So what he did will never, in the history of motocross, it'll never happen again.
Yeah.
He was just
Even
a little
with
bit
Doug,
younger.
what Doug did.
Doug was just a little bit younger than
Well,
John.
but
so.
Doug started
I
he
know.
started racing at 20.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
never happen. That'll never ever
yeah,
happen
I
again.
never had an excuse for being old because
yeah,
I had this guy.
Because you always had him in
Yeah,
front of
yeah,
you.
yeah. I couldn't use that
We
one.
always did that. I say
Yeah.
the same thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I never have to retire because this fucker's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
2.5
but
years
it's
or 3
pretty
years
cool to
older than me.
think,
I
Taylor.
hated
that Dowd.
Yeah.
Like what he did, it'll never
Yeah,
be
you're right,
repeated
you're
again.
right.
In the history of motocross, it'll never ever be repeated again. Not a chance.
no, exactly. Never.
And on that note, you said, so 20 years old was when you did that first race, you said, right? So what year would that have been, or how old would you have been when you turned pro, when you started racing?
Well, I started in '85, and I wasn't 86.
Probably
87, you.
I was going to
86,
guess
you
So
were-
let's-
I raced the
Because
national in
86 you were amateur.
I made
like,
87, you got
So-
14th at the Southwick National.
second half.
So time from picking up a dirt bike for the very first time, putting your leg over one, to lining up for your first national, 2 years.
Well, no, not the first. Not the first time.
Two-
Not the first time
First
on a
time
dirt
race-
bike.
no,
but the
first time
racing.
First time racing, sure, okay.
yeah, but really, doesn't it? But don't you feel like you remember so much of that? Like I feel like NESC was so long, but it was only like 4 years or something. You know, like 5 years, 6 years. You know, like.
Yeah. Well, that is a long time.
Yeah, but you know what?
I mean,
When
it
you-
seems like
you
so
gotta
much.
think about-
You know,
when
like
think
it
about
seems like
all
so
that
much.
deal with people.
So many things going
Yeah,
on. You know, like
when
so
you
many things
start,
happen.
Like
in that.
you guys literally. I feel like I had a short little deal. I started racing in '83, and I raced the '86 Southwick. I was racing 80 novice in '83, and then in '86 I raced the Southwick National. Like that's
So
a
that's
short
only
amount
3
of
years.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
only 3
You
years,
started
you know?
in '87.
86.
Yeah.
You raced the national.
Yeah,
No.
I did '86. I raced the
No way you
national.
didn't.
1,000%. I raced the Southwick National.
Put some money on it.
250 class.
86.
86. Yes. 85 we raced.
You weren't even an expert in 86.
We raced 80. Exactly. We raced 85. 1985 we were 125 amateurs together. And 86 I didn't know
you didn't.
I thought you turned
I'm
expert
telling you
second
right
half
now.
of 86.
Listen, Dowdy.
With me.
I know you hate,
We did our first expert
Yeah,
race
Paul
together.
Buckley, get the motorsports out. Paul Buckley,
Rain
we
Man
need
is
you.
going down.
Can we phone a friend?
There's
Listen
no
to me
way
right
you
now.
raced in that 86 national in Southwick. Not a chance.
You want to bet 1,000 on it
When
right
does
now.
NESC
I
second
guarantee I was hanging on the
That's when
fence
we made
watching
expert.
Mickey Diamond win it.
No, you weren't because he was
I
right.
was
Oh,
too.
125, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rick Johnson won the 250.
You raced the Southwick National in 86.
86, yes. As
KJ's
did,
okay.
his father took a video of it in 86. So here you go, KJ. See, there you go. You got to learn something right now. You might want to
History lesson.
You might want to put a little.
Hey,
you
I've
might
always
wanna
said
learn
that's why I keep you around, so I can
Thank
remember
you.
shit.
You always, every time you do a podcast.
I used to call him when I
every
can't
time you
remember
do a
somebody's
podcast, you know you want to have me around because I know shit. But anyway, 86, I raced the Southwick. 85, me and you were 125 amateurs together. End of the year, 86. 85, we turned expert. We shouldn't have.
I know we turned expert. We didn't race a national.
I did because I did not know because NESC did 250, 500, 250, 125 the spring and 250, 500 in the fall. So me being the moron from Maine, we didn't have internet, nothing like that back then. I bought a 250. And then the next year, they did 125, 500 in the spring and 125, 250 in the fall. Well, I had a 250. I bought a 250. And then there was no races. I went to Canada. That's when I started going to Canada. And the spring was Southwick National. I raced the Southwick National in 1986, the 250 class. And I qualified, and I got my ass handed to me. I think I finished like 25th and 28th or whatever the frig I did. But it doesn't matter. I raced the 250 Southwick National in
I
1986.
can't remember, but maybe, is that when it was later in the season, like in August?
No,
or
no,
something?
it was in the spring because the fall series was because I raced you because you were a spring series 250 amateur
Yeah,
champion.
it was amateur,
and I
spring
was
series.
hating your ass because I was like, who's this asshole John Dowd?
That's what I was
that
asking
won
you when the
amateur
spring
championship,
series
and I got
turned
raced
over.
in the
Taylor,
fall.
feel free to cut him off.
No.
Well,
Let's
I
just
was
keep
going to
going.
say, I
Listen,
noticed his
next
beer was
question.
empty.
Listen to him.
Next question.
Feel free to cut him off when I'm right. Because KJ's like, oh, God, no. he's
Next
not
question.
Right. He's not right. Oh, he did not race the Southwick National. in 86.
He'll just keep talking.
I
take
did
one.
race the Southwick National. Get me another beer, goddammit. I did race the Southwick National. Thank you.
For the record, no, he
Thank
didn't.
you.
Hey, for the record, I did.
For the record. It's important.
Doug, you want me to open that for you, brother? I got you covered.
Maybe there was no age restrictions back then.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like 16 or 17.
Yeah, you were
Hey,
young then.
nothing for nothing. I was staying with KJ all the time. I lived
In
with.
86, I just feel like we must have raced the same national. Like in 86, I was still 15.
I know, but I was 16. I'm a year older than you. I was living with you in friggin' your house. Remember when we used to?
How was he living with you and you don't remember him racing the national?
Listen, I went to his house in the summertime. Remember when we got dropped off at that asshole's house?
And the living's easy.
The sand pit, remember you left us there all
Yeah,
day long? We had like a little gallon of water. We were
Okay, next
idiots.
question.
We were idiots. We were idiots.
Next question, Michael. Go forever.
I would like to just
He
throw out
hates it
there-
when I bring this shit up because I
Let me just
remember
note,
everything.
the years that these guys are all talking about, I wasn't born until 96. So we're talking
Yeah,
like,
you weren't even-
You weren't even
is-
as gleaming.
Doug was
as
already
I
retired.
was.
Doug was already a retired national champion.
so it's a bit of a history lesson for me too, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. So
Good.
thank you for the monologues. Just kidding. So
Well,
yeah.
do you know much about your dad racing? Like, are you gonna have you're gonna have your dad on here one of these days?
Yeah,
Can
I
I
d-
come in when you do your dad?
Absolutely. You're more than welcome
Awesome.
anytime.
Yeah. Because I remember Ken. He loved he still loves it. Motorcycles,
Oh, the
motorcycling, riding, all that stuff. It's awesome.
the passion is definitely undeniable.
It's cool that
I remember
So
the
weird, like,
wheelies.
It's
really
awesome
not
to
that
have
big, right?
it's awesome to have him like part of like the crew that sort of, I don't know. I think it's going to carry New England racing for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to be there.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna get his own episode for sure. It's probably gonna be called "Who the Hell is Kaplan America?" And
You got plenty of footage for that. You
Yes.
know, you
Oh
can-
my
you-
God.
You got
Not
plenty of
much.
footage for that.
exactly. So it's funny you mentioned that. A couple weeks back, I found dozens and dozens of old tapes in storage somewhere from Mototown, from the early NEMA days. I mean, early for me, I'm talking like early 2000s.
Mototown.
Yeah, Mototown.
days.
I haven't heard that name in years.
Early days for me was 77.
Exactly. So,
Early NEMA days, she's like, 1994. 1994, early NEMA days.
exactly. Yeah, and that's still it still is before my time. But yeah, so I finally got them all digitalized a few weeks ago, and that is the best money I've ever spent in my entire life, was whatever it costs to get everything digitalized. Being able to see everything firsthand, that, I mean, I have a faint memory of things, but seeing that all in color and in front of you is unmatched. So definitely going to use a lot of that for that episode.
Nice.
But yeah. So,
All
yeah.
right, I'm pissed.
All right.
All right.
Trod's going to take a piss break.
Cut that out of the shot.
There you go.
Junior.
Keep rolling, boys.
I think we should probably keep that, actually. Just kidding. So I want to get into, like, before we really get too far forward into like present day stuff, or even obviously the super exciting stuff in your professional careers, all of that, I want to talk one last thing about NESC, all of that. So you guys would have been racing against each other at some point in your careers. Was there ever rivalries? Was there ever problems? And tell me about that, because now you guys, I look at you guys and you guys are such good friends and so close. I want to know about some of that stuff in the early days when you guys were racing each other.
I guess I'll start.
Please.
So, like, Tread and I were friends from before we knew these guys, because Tread and I started before these guys. So early 80s, like 81-ish, Tread and I were good friends. And then there were never rivalries between any of us, really. Nobody liked John because he came in out of nowhere, right? So, like,
Sure.
when you come in and literally, like we were just talking about, what he did will never happen again. And when somebody starts racing and then 2 years later they're winning NESC expert races, no matter who you are as a racer, it pisses you off, right? So automatically you hate the guy.
Right.
Right? So there was a weird time, I think, for a little bit, and because who the hell's going to like that?
Exactly.
Like, you can't be a competitor and just be like, oh, that's cool.
Sure.
Like, you're like, fuck that guy.
He could be the coolest guy in the world. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Fuck
yeah,
that guy.
you automatically just wanted to hate the guy.
Right.
But you didn't know him, and I think that's why JoJo spit in your face, probably, right? Yeah. I mean, JoJo literally spit in his face because, and he, like, was speaking for the rest of the world, because, like, if I could have spit in his face, I probably would have, But that's how aggravated everybody was when he came in, because it just doesn't happen. Like,
Right.
you just don't start racing and then 2 years later start winning NESC expert races. It just doesn't happen. So, but then once we got to know him,
Lee Helly quit racing.
yeah,
You can't put that on me.
Yes, I can. Because he said it. He said, I quit racing because of John Dowd. He said it.
I didn't really. I mean, back then I didn't really understand it. I mean, I guess nowadays when I hear it, and I guess I understand now more than I did.
Yeah.
Back then I was just like, man, this is really cool. I was having a blast, and
but John started racing in '85, and then in '87 he starts winning NESC expert races. Again, never happened before. It'll never happen again. But then we go to Florida and we live together in, what was it, '88, right?
Yeah, 88 to 89.
yeah.
And I think that ride to Florida is he really bonded with me. Right?
Hey, how about my van in the front yard? That was a good time.
No, the ride to Florida is really where we bonded.
No, hey, I remember you calling me going, hey, I literally think you called me because there was no cell phones. You called me from like a payphone or something like, hey, John doesn't like Elton John. I remember we used to like love Elton John. Me and you used to, because me and KJ like turned like, I don't even know, like 83 I started racing, and he was one of the first guys I met. And we just immediately like hit it off or whatever like that. So 83, 84, 85, I used to go to his house, and from being from Maine, I used to go to his house, and we used to do like, we just used to hang out, and then, and all the time we hung out, and then he was like, hey, because I was like, hey, listen, I'll live with you in Florida, me, you, and John, and I didn't know Dowdy, because, well, I knew him a little bit, because 86, I was like, I'm the new guy in the expert class, and this guy sucks, and he kicked my ass, so I wanted to kill him, but anyway, and he's like, hey, yeah. He called me from a rest area. He's like, this fucking guy doesn't like Elton John, man. What's up? I remember being like, all right,
I just remember
I was like a week behind him. I had to work in Maine or something like that.
Elton John song comes on the radio, and next thing you know, he's singing, belting at the top of his lungs, every word, every lyric, and I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Just kind of
You remember
me,
like,
you know?
oh, dude, we used to, Dowdy was like one of those guys that was like, he was a football player. I played football too, but I don't even know why. I was like
I don't know why you keep saying that. I
Dude,
wasn't that good of
like,
I was just a lineman. You always bring it up like
Yeah, you were a lineman of football, but like you were a total homophobe. Me and KJ didn't give a shit. We would like sleep in the same bed. We didn't give a shit about nothing. Dowdy was like, I'm a masculine man. We would be like, hey, we want to hug you. And he would always be like, oh, no, we're not going to do that, you know? So it was hilarious. So when he called me, it was like, hey, he doesn't like Elton John. I'm like, all right, when we get down there, we're going to straighten this guy's ass out, you know?
I was definitely
Tell me, Sticks.
I was definitely like the odd man out, sort of.
Yeah, a
like
little
I was
bit.
the new guy into the group,
out.
you know?
No, but he was like just too cool for school type of guy. Like, you know, until we broke him down and got to the real John Dowd, then then he's the one that starts like he won't hang up the phone without saying, okay, love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
You know, that's how he hangs up the phone now. You know, that's just how it is. So
I called him Monday, and his kid was on the phone on speakerphone. I'm like, all right. I said, okay, I love you. Bye. And he didn't say it. I called him back immediately, and I'm like, hey, what the hell?
Say it back.
Ryan's like, did you just call back? John's like, I love you, Tread. His kid was like, what the hell is going on right now?
He was like,
Ryan was like, I'm like, listen, Ryan, you might as well just sit the hell up, sit the hell down, man. You know, that's how this shit rolls. That's how this shit rolls.
That's cute.
Yeah.
But as far as like rivalries, like I can't speak for these guys. We didn't really have rivalries, so right, Doug? Like we all hated John because he came in so quick. But as far as like battles, the only person I can say I like actually made me bleed a few times is that motherfucker over there. Like these guys never really made me bleed.
Was that on the track or off the track?
On the track.
Okay.
Yeah, him. I got like scars to prove it. But these guys, no problems.
Yeah, well, they were a little bit, they were too cool for school. They kind of just schooled out and started winning national championships.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no defense for making him bleed, just that they went off to be too cool.
Yeah, they went off to be too cool. Me and Keith were left to
no choice.
Like fend for the scraps. So like the scraps were like the real deal.
Yeah,
so,
it was good. NESC racing was so good back in the day.
There was scraps were real deal. So when you come into a turn and he thinks, literally he talks about, oh look, he hurt me. We're going to the same turn. If I got the inside, you better back off. And he didn't think I should back off, and I didn't think whatever. So we just didn't back off. But the beauty of it was I probably cleaned him out, and he bled, and I probably bled too. But guess what we did? We went to dinner that night and hung out.
Went home and cuddled.
Drank a few beers. Yeah, we probably traveled back home in the same van and cuddled in the back.
You kissed and made up.
It doesn't matter. We did that in Canada, huh, KJ? We would kill each other for $300 in Canada for main event win, kill each other, and then we had to drive 9 hours back home to race the next day in the same van. We would like take bikes apart and throw them in the same van, whatever we had to do, and we would drive together to Canada and like race 2 nights and like literally like destroy each other for a couple $100. And then we would get in the same van, take apart a bike, throw it back in so we could fit 4 bikes in the van and drive 8 hours back to go race the next day. And be like, hey, sorry that you're beat up and you have this bruise and that cut.
Was that an arena cross in Canada?
Yes.
Blood, bleeding?
No,
that wasn't even arena cross?
No, I took him out at Southwick and he still whines about it.
Southwick?
Yeah.
Man, you dirty dog, you.
We've seen that before.
Listen, momentum is your friend. When you're fat, the momentum is good. You come around the outside.
JoJo.
You have the momentum, and you don't think you do, and you do. And guess what? He paid the price. So that's how we roll.
I'll tell you what, I remember I don't know, not even too long ago, 5 years ago or something. I remember bouncing off you in a corner. The lines came together. You remember that?
Yes.
And I just, like, we just came together, and I was like, holy shit, man, I felt like I was hitting a tree. I was like, man, that Tread, man, he is solid.
I was racing in Canada, and I started, I got a, like, not so great of a pick, and I started way on the inside, and I just dove into the first turn, and Jimmy D was like, oh, my God, I hit a brick fucking wall. Like, and I came in hot. You know, what do you want to do?
I remember my son Ryan one day, you guys came together somewhere, and Ryan's actually not a small kid. He's probably like 180 pounds or something. He's, you know, and he was like, man, I hit Tread, and it felt like I just hit a brick wall. I was like, I told you.
That's the Iron Mike.
I told you, don't mess with Tread.
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike.
I wanted to actually.
He might be slow, but he's fat.
I wanted to touch a little bit on that rivalry thing. I don't know what you think, Doug, but I always felt like you and I had a little bit more of a rivalry, you know, in an NESC time period. Like, I feel like we didn't really become as close or good of friends until we got into the national scene. But I just remember, I guess, I don't know if it was 88, 89, 88, 89, somewhere in that range. But, man, I remember you and I just, you know, pounding off each other.
Going at it.
And you were like the only guy I was focused on like in 1 year or so at this time period, you know. And I was like, man, I hate that Doug Henry guy.
Okay, so I know I monopolized all the conversations. I'm sorry. But 89, so Valancourt. KJ was hurt, and you had hurt a little bit. And you guys had, I had started winning, and that was my first year winning in 89. It was my first year winning races in NESC. But you guys, by the time I started winning, Bartman was winning and Badger, you remember all that?
Yeah.
But by that time, you guys had elevated the game like nobody's
Yeah, we
business.
started honing in on each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Elevating the game like in NESC like nobody's business. So we got fast forward to the end of the year, and Valancourt came down because he was kind of our adopted.
It was a Middleborough race, I think.
Middleborough race.
Yeah,
and he was and somebody had videotaped.
I remember that.
And Doug, you were kind of you were doing your own thing, but me and Dowdy were living together, and I was staying with you. You took me in, and being from Maine, and you fucking let me live with you. And Valancourt came down to stay with us, and you guys had elevated the game like savages. And
I think that was late in the year, right?
it was
like
late
the last
in the year.
Last
it was late
race
in the
or
year,
two.
89, and you had won the championship in 88.
Yeah.
And Dowdy was started to like dominate the New England championship, but you.
I think we were still going at it
Yeah,
in
you
points
guys
or
were
something.
going at
We
it
were
like
still close.
savages, and you guys just elevated the game like nobody's business. And I remember being like, I thought I was badass because I was finishing third, and then I battled with Valancourt, and somebody videotaped the race, and we went back to your house, and I got third, and Valancourt got fourth, and you guys were literally 4 seconds behind us to lap us. And you were 1 and 2. And we were battling for third. And you guys had stepped it up so bad. And I remember being like,
That was John. I didn't step it up. I was just trying to keep up with it.
No, exactly. But you guys literally like whatever.
I was thinking
happened,
just the opposite. I was thinking I was trying to keep up with him the whole time.
I remember you winning. Barry was so pissed at me at Central Village because you had won every moto in the 250 class up until that point, and I was a stupid idiot, and I was like, oh, Dowdy, you've won every fucking moto. And you beat him at Central Village in the
Central
250
Village.
class. And you
Yeah.
did a
Remember that
no-footer.
thing?
You did
Yeah.
a no-footer at the
That
finish
was passed me like at the
I
finish
know.
line.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
right at the finish line.
Right at the finish
and
line.
a no-footer.
Yeah.
And Barry blamed it on me. He blamed it on me because before the race, I was like, holy shit, Dowdy, you've won every race so far this year. Has that ever happened in NESC? And Barry blamed it on me as mechanic. But you guys elevated your game, and I remember just like laughing because Valancourt was like, he was so pumped because he got fourth, and we were battling for third, and he almost beat me. But I was like, yeah, you see this? Those dudes were like almost ready to lap us. Like, we're losers. We suck. We're losers. And Valancourt was like, because he was from Canada. He just came down to train.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
It was funny, but I just totally
Yeah, that
remember
was that was one of the first, because I was riding the 125s and he was doing 250. So that was one of the first times we sort of met. And
Yeah, I was gonna say it was the first year.
class. Yeah.
Because
you started riding 250 that year.
Yeah.
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 I remember the year before I was, I remember watching him. I'm like, man, that Henry guy's pretty quick, because he was winning the 125s and I was winning the 250s.
Yeah.
With his
We never really met up, and I think it was probably like if we probably looked at the schedule, it was probably like it was a non-championship 125 and a championship 250 or something.
Oh yeah.
And maybe I just
Remember
jumped
how that
in
used
there
to work?
with it.
Yeah, It was weird how an ASC worked back then.
Yeah, but that was I mean, I don't know, like competitiveness. Like you're only going to go as fast as you kind of have to go, and if there's somebody going faster than you got to figure out how to beat them or whatever.
But you guys stepped it up like.
Yeah.
But I think you left like the next year, right?
Yeah.
To go do the
started
national
chasing
circuit.
the nationals. Yeah. And then just hit NESC once in a while. And because you got that Cowie, you got a good Cowie deal to stay there.
In 1990, I got a Team Green ride, but they required me to stay in New England. So I was like,
was that the year you had a broken leg and we went down to get your bikes and
yeah,
you had a broken leg and we came back and I rode all your bikes.
Yeah, you were breaking in on my bikes.
I was breaking in all your bikes for you.
Breaking spokes and all.
Yeah, I broke
what
all
are you
the
doing to
spokes.
these bikes? They're brand new.
Up all your seats and all that shit. Yeah,
He was just
And
breaking
Dan
stuff
Holtz
left and right.
Yes. Yeah, that was.
This guy's like a bull in a china shop.
Still is.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's awesome.
Oh, hey Taylor, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today, by the way. I'm so glad to be here on your podcast. Thank you. So let's jump ahead a little bit. So we left off in like 1990. There's one race in particular that I want to talk about, and I think both of you might roll your eyes, but I want to talk about 1991 Hangtown and what that was like for both of you. Let's note that was the first and only ever time since that two privateer racers won the overalls in both classes. Has never happened since, probably won't ever happen again. Similar to the accomplishments, as KJ noted earlier, that you've achieved. Let's talk about that. What was that day like? Set the scene for us. Let's talk about it.
Well, I remember coattailing on that whole rivalry thing. I was still kind of thinking, man, I hate that Doug Henry guy, because he had left, and I feel like we became more closer friends. You know what I mean? At
the national circuit, absolutely.
Yeah, like all of a sudden,
we were like that was. Even though you're from Mass, I was from Connecticut, which isn't very far, but we were like from the same area.
All of a sudden, we became like Team New England or something against the world, So it was just like a whole different thing. But and
that was nice about John. I just feel like being connected to like where you grew up is kind of cool, and so to have him like be so connected to the roots and not really worry about all the stuff that's going on out there.
All bullshit.
Yeah. So it was kind of nice to have like a kind of someone similar to understanding the roots of home.
Right.
It was great. Yeah.
I mean, literally a piece of home on the other side of the country. As far away as you possibly.
And like Mike too, it was the same thing. Like whenever him and Keith would come out on the national circuit, I felt like John and I were kind of out there. So these guys would come out once in a while, and it's like take them under our wing a little bit. Whatever we could do to help them. Like get to to advance or whatever. But
Tread, what was that race that just made me think of that race? I had a bad race somewhere along, and we were sitting there after the race, and I was kind of all mad, and I was like, how'd you do anyways? And
it was Southwick.
It was Southwick, right?
It was Southwick, and I got you.
I forgot. I think I
got
DNF'd
eighth in the first moto, and you got like fifth. But to me, an eighth was like lights out, and to fifth for you was like just shit. And we were.
Yeah, I guess I was mad about the fifth or
he
something.
He was mad about the fifth, and it was comical because we were dead tired, sitting on the dirt in between our box vans.
Yeah.
Because we were parked together, and in the dirt, and I was like, sitting there, we were both like, oh, fuck, and he was like, oh, my God, I'm so pissed, and I was like, he's like, I'm so pissed, I got fifth, and he's like, how did you do? And I'm like, I got eighth, and he literally was like excited. He was mad at himself for getting fifth.
That was like the high point of my day.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit,
so
you got
mad
eighth?
at
That's
himself.
freaking awesome, dude.
I remember being so excited, because he was mad at himself, and we were pitted together, and we like just that's what we did, and I was like, oh man, I got 8th, and he was like, holy shit, you got 8th, Tread, you got 8th, fuck, that's awesome, and I was like,
Turn everything around.
yeah, he was literally like, all of a sudden he wasn't even upset that he got 5th, and he was supposed to be top 3 or whatever what he was supposed to be because he was John Dowd at Southwick.
But Tread got 8th.
Yeah, but I got 8th, and he was literally like, that's sick, bro. That's awesome. And he literally was like, hey, cool, like good, so that's literally.
I was thinking one of the New England boys. You know what I mean? He was just a New England boy. At that point, I was thinking, man, that's awesome. Another one of our boys up in the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the deal. Like honestly, we literally, that's the one KJ posted. We could be literally at a local race, just killing each other for $35 for a freaking main event
Or trophy,
race
you know.
motor
Yeah.
win. And guess what? Like at the end of the day, we would literally be doing this right here, just hanging out with each other, and and so for my buddy to be like, oh hey, like he's pissed at himself for getting 5th, but he's so pumped for me to getting 8th, like what? I don't even know what to say about
Bigger
that.
picture.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
That's what it's
I
all
remember
about.
Doug.
That was good about racing. The same thing in our group. Like when somebody like did better, like it kind of lifted everybody up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, Doug was leading the 125 Nationals, and he came to a local race. You probably don't even remember this, Doug, but I was winning the championship in NESC, and you came to a local race, and you had to qualify. And we were totally joking around in practice, and we were like just totally like slamming each other, just messing around and stuff. And you had to do a qualifier, and I was messing with you and going, oh, hey, you got to go qualify. and thank goodness there was no internet or like social media or anything like that. But people were like, oh, you and Doug have a beef. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Me and Doug don't have a beef. They're like, oh, you guys were slamming each other going through the Buckley berm and shit like that. I'm like, no, we weren't. We were just messing around, like just totally joking around, Like, it just.
So getting back to that 91 year, I know that was your original
Yes.
question, Taylor, right? We got a little off on a tangent there.
Probably
But
got off on that.
No, I didn't.
I think Tread-
you went off. You went. You went.
over the mic. Let me guess.
No. You went to take a piss,
Just taking a
KJ. So how
guess.
do you like them apples?
Are you
91.
ahead, John.
Go ahead.
So,
91.
Dowdy, just keep talking because KJ won't stop.
so at Gainesville, the first race that year, I think we both got 5th overall. And I just remember at the time I was like, man, that freaking Henry guy, he's still like a thorn
got
in my
4th.
side. You got maybe that's what it was. I think he got 4th and I got 5th.
I got 4. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I was on the 250, but I got
Details
5th, and
matter.
I guess you got 4th or something. I was like,
I
damn,
knew I
freaking Henry.
got 4th. I don't know why, because I was number 19 then.
Yeah.
I knew you did. I knew you were like
Yeah,
right.
he was number 35, so yeah. You got
Well,
4.
anyways,
That's fine. He got 5.
nonetheless, I was like, man, that
Yeah.
freaking Henry guy, he's just a thorn. But then, so at Hangtown in 91, you know that race, you
Yeah.
remember, I'm sure. But I remember sitting on the line because 125s used to go first. I'm sitting on the line, me and Brian Berry holding the umbrella, and they, this was after they had the AMA meeting and stuff. Everyone was talking about canceling, and I was like,
One moto. Yeah.
yeah. And then they went to one moto, which was kind of cool. I drove all the way to California. Like I wanted to race. I didn't care what we were riding in.
I think you get a race out of it.
Yeah. So, anyways, I remember this vividly, like sitting on the line, hunched under the umbrella. It's pouring rain. I mean, there's lakes, rivers down the track, and I'm watching Doug go by, and he's in like 3rd and 2nd and 1st and then 2nd and 1st. You guys are kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, because people were falling.
Yeah. And I was
like-
like, son of a bitch, that Henry guy, he's doing it again. And then he wins the moto. And I'm sitting there. I remember looking at Brian Berry, and I'm just like, how the hell am I supposed to beat that? Like, he freaking won. I remember sitting on the line. I was so mad. And then
He's fucking from New England.
I'm like, freaking Henry just won the moto. What the hell?
Fuck, man.
And then, obviously I ended up going out and, enough guys fell and
It's the
my
same
bike
thing,
ran.
right?
Come on,
yeah.
dude.
You
Yeah,
kept
like,
it
I mean,
running,
It wasn't
man.
enough
I was-
guys fell. You kicked ass.
But you know how it
won
is
the
too
moto.
when
You
you
won
get
the moto.
if you like when you're mad and you just go race. And I mean, sometimes that's like an amazing thing. But I remember leaving the starting line. I was like, fucking Henry. So,
I
mean, I just remember that moment.
Whatever it takes, baby. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I remember Doug winning that moto.
I'm glad I inspired you.
Well, I've often said that, you know, how I credit Doug, you know, for a lot of my success, you know.
Same.
I felt like I was always chasing a rabbit, you know.
Yeah.
But
for sure, same thing with me. You know, like I tell you, like those late motos, man, it was like, you know, giving up. You know, it's like you give up so easy. It's just like one more lap. You know, like one more lap. You know, just try to. You know, I learned like to not look back. You know, you can look over. You know, like that's like if you have enough room, you can look over. But once you look over and you don't see somebody, don't ever look back again. You know, just look forward.
Sure.
But yeah, so it was always like the end of the race, like the end of the race. You know, I don't know. He had like a fight in him that he didn't want to lose, and I had the same thing, and we often met at the end of the race.
I've always loved some of Doug's like little thoughts like that, and like little statements. I remember the year that you were putting like tape on the lower half of your goggles.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell are you doing that for? And at the time I was like, man, that Henry guy's kind of weird still, you know. But you know, his thought was he was trying to remind himself to look forward, which is a really good thing in racing. You want to try to
remember you telling me that, Doug.
Yeah.
Keep looking forward, like
like so. And I was like,
it's hard to do.
Look forward. That's what you told me like 89, I think. I literally think it was like 89.
It was all summer long. We'd go practicing, and he had tape on his goggles, and I was forward.
Look forward.
I was like, man, that's got to get annoying after a while. But
you know, so some other things were I taped my fingers to the levers.
Yeah, I think I remember that too.
And I also put a 2x4 on my seat so that I would sit forward.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I would always sit in the middle, because growing up in New England, it was always loose sand stuff.
Yeah, KJ's Mr. Joe Perfect style, everything. So he's like, I don't know
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I've always had perfect style.
Yeah, but
it's
you're
just
good
come
too.
natural to me.
You're good too. Like, you know, come on. I think it would probably go like one of these guys first or second, and then me, and then.
As far as style?
Yeah. And then,
I'm thinking maybe KJ first.
Yeah,
then
definitely
for
second.
sure.
And I managed in there in the vagina.
I might have been last. I got some old pictures that I'm like,
dude, the picture of your. Hey,
I have them
I mean, there's some pretty bad stuff.
In the basement, place.
Well, it was like the first poster I ever had, and I thought it was so cool. It was so bad. So bad.
We'd literally be going to bed at night. I would look, I'd be like, you still have that picture up in your fucking room? Like, seriously, dude? That's the most hideous. Camilio would put that picture in
I had my butt
like,
about 3 feet to the left of the seat, and I thought that was some kind of a whip or something.
Yeah, the ass whip from hell in his basement was crazy. Yeah. But anyway.
So, Taylor, back to your original question about these guys winning 1991 until Tread took over the mic.
Oh, F off.
So what I'll say about these two guys, and what we talked about before is like you're not going to see that again in motocross, right? But if you look at motocross in history, like racers in history, I think two guys that would stand out as being like mentally fit are these two guys, right? And if Tread and I could have hooked on to that a little earlier, you know, looking back, hindsight's 20/20.
Totally.
Right? But these guys, John was just too stupid to know any better.
Mountain Dew and chips.
He just didn't. He just didn't know any better. Like
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, he really was. He was just too stupid to know any better.
Yeah.
But Doug was a thinker. Doug is a thinker. Like Doug, like analyzed everything. He still does. John doesn't think about anything. He just like falls into shit.
You know, whatever works.
Yeah,
I tell you,
John's a savage.
Unbelievable, John Dowd. What works, man? It worked for you.
Doug's father was a thinker. I remember my parents telling me that when we were out growing up together and racing and everything like that.
Yeah.
They was like, God, Doug's dad he's smart like a fox.
Yeah.
That's what my parents used to say about your dad.
Like a fox,
He's
yeah.
smart like a fox. He knows the deal. He knows.
Yeah,
what's
the
going
drive
on.
homes from the races would be pretty good sometimes.
I'm sure they were like. I'm sure the drive home for you with your dad was like really like informational because. Like, that's what my parents used to say.
Sometimes it was just silence.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was all it was.
I'm sure it probably was. But my parents, because my parents used to hang with your dad.
Yeah.
Like watching us race.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what my parents used to always tell me. Like, listen, Doug's dad is he's smart like a fox. He knows what's going on, and he knows the deal. And like me and KJ were just young, a little bit. Well, Doug's a little bit younger than me, and in between me and KJ. But I feel like you started racing a little bit after us.
Yeah.
We were the young guys, and we were like, we're just like, fuck, let's pin it, man.
Yeah.
Me and KJ used to go to the gym. We're gonna bench 225. That's all we said. We were like, we're gonna go like leg press fucking 340, and we're gonna bench 225. That's literally all we thought about.
You know, my dad just perked up as soon as you talk about bench press.
That was our deal, man. We didn't even like 0%. I remember Doug was the first one to go like, oh, I have a heart rate monitor. I'm gonna go run and I'm gonna do this. And we were like, what does that mean? Like we just would go go run. Remember Dowdy? We were going to California. We stopped at a rest stop, and we were like, hey, we're going to run to that bridge, not knowing that bridge is like 45 miles away. Yeah. You could see so far on the West Coast. And we're like an hour like running later. We're still like the same exact distance away from that bridge. Yeah. And then we turn around, run back to the rust area. But like we didn't know shit, man. We didn't know nothing.
Yeah. No.
But two people that were like mentally strong, like obviously these two guys, because
crazy.
John was mentally strong because he was just too stupid to know any better, and that's the God's honest truth.
I think you already said that.
No.
Yeah.
No, you really were.
It was important enough to say again, I think.
But he was mentally strong because he just, like, he was a thinker, man. He like, we talked about this.
Yeah,
like I remember flying home from a race. We talked about this a while ago, from California, and I remember Doug saying like, all I wanted out of racing is to make enough money to pay for my mortgage, and if I can pay for my house, I'm set for life. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm set. If I can just make enough money to pay for my house, I'm good, you know. And we were talking that race, and he's like, I've really been thinking about like the mental side of racing, and he got to the point where he could, and people at home, you guys should try this, right? He got to the point where he could visualize laps in a moto, right? And like lap after lap after lap. And we talked about this a while ago. And do you know how hard it is? Like you guys have ridden around Southwick enough times, right? But try to do one lap in your mind without something interrupting your mind, right? Where he could do that for laps at a time.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but my thoughts are this should probably be a series. I think we have a lot to cover.
I think we should stick with NESC days for this one.
Yeah.
Right.
And then maybe next.
I think it'll give you guys a good right.
On this original, we should talk about Doug's fundraising event at that race that we're going to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fast
So
forward. It's no problem.
yeah, let's transition right into
forward.
that. So a big reason why we timed this podcast the way we did is because there's a big event coming up at Southwick, first weekend of October. KJ, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So
Of course he does.
Of course.
He's been waiting the whole time.
Chomping at it.
Chomping at the bit.
me. So yeah, we have a vet race coming up October 1st.
A vet race?
vet
Or
race?
a national.
National championship.
Come on.
New England.
God.
So
GMB.
all these guys will be here. Yeah, we have a great event planned. So we have the vet race on Saturday, or we have practice Fridays, vet race Saturday, NESC Sunday. So it's a pretty packed weekend. These guys will be here representing. We have a band on Saturday night. We're excited about that. Doug is, we're coming in and doing, Doug, what's the name of it?
The New England Charity Fund. It's
Okay.
a New England Riders Charity Fund. Like, it's kind of started out as a charity ride, but I see it growing, and I see your event as something that would work really, really well in helping people in New England, like, who are into motorcycling and motorsports that, you know, suffer trauma, you know, whatever it is, like whether it's riding or, you know, tracks or, you know, home things or whatever, you know, just sort of helping the motocross community in New England, you know, like the area, just sort of helping them, you know, with whatever difficulties they have. So we just try to have, like, we started a little fundraiser in New Hampshire that we did, and then we sort of passed it on. A friend of mine does a ride in Paradox, New York, that we did. and I do a little event in my house, and like to add your event, the New England, the vet championship. I'd love to do, like, I called you this week and I asked you, I said, hey, is there any chance, like, I'd kind of love to come out and do like a fundraiser for the guys who get hurt in New England. And I was like, take your time. You don't have to rush. And like, like immediately, of course, you were like, yeah, whatever you want to do. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're excited about that.
You've been around a lot of guys, like we've all been around a lot of guys. I think Antonucci all the time. Like he was like one of our first guys.
Yeah.
100%.
So we're excited to have Doug and those guys. So we're going to have the vet race there. We're going to have some raffles and things. We're rounding up all the signed jerseys and the Mike Treadwell,
Barton, is
cheesy
he coming
fries.
Or what? Is
Yeah,
Pat
make Pat Barton.
Let's
Make
get
Pat
Pat
Barton
Barton.
just throw some shit
Dude,
out
that
there.
dude used to
Come
hold
on,
shot
man.
for the
Really,
national.
Bart,
But
man?
anyway, yeah.
He's got a barn full of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to get it would be great to get all the people that used to come out to the South to New NESC races.
We got to get Badger. My
just
God.
come out, and hopefully it'll be
Badger's
like a
allowed.
fun
Come
event
on.
where there's a lot of guys that used to watch race for, like, I tell you, I love watching JoJo and Rudnicki and Leo Photo and Meenan, so many other guys like Waddington.
Legends.
Yeah, legends. Just
Right.
like battle, and it was like, you never knew who was going to win, like back in that day. And really it was whoever wanted it the most, like you'd see that and who was on that day. And,
So we're excited to have these guys out. Mike and Tread obviously kind of suffering some injuries in the last couple of years. Haven't raced much or the last year and a half or so. But we're going to do a halftime exhibition ride. Doug, Mike, John, JoJo, Jimmy Meenan, like some of the most iconic guys to ever come out of New England. Not to say that these guys won't ever race again, but right now they're not, coming off of the injuries that they had. Mike spending 45 days in a hospital bed last year with his stomach filleted open. It takes its toll. So, we're excited to have those guys out there. We have some big, guys coming in for this race. So nothing's been announced yet, but we're working on some pretty cool things for that race as well. Next year it's going to get even bigger. Recently I've been over to the UK racing a couple weeks, and next year we have some big plans to make this vet race even much, much bigger. It's a race that John used to do back in the day, which is the vet MX the Nations. So we're excited about the future of this race. So it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and hopefully we can raise some money for Doug's cause here, and get a lot of cool stuff, signed jerseys and number plates and helmets or whatever it is, for things like that, just to give back to the racing community.
Our riders, I think about all the guys that got hurt, I kind of remembered. Yeah, I remember David Kimball, he was like an early on kid that got hurt, and Jason, just guys that got hurt along the way. And I feel fortunate that I was able to race as long as I did before getting seriously injured, so it's cool. It's great. I want to try to give, just give back to the guys that are struggling a little bit more, because it takes a little bit more effort to get around. And, there's a lot of guys out there. So
And the coolest thing about racing over all the years is it really becomes like another family.
Absolutely.
Another family away from home. And so that whole concept there of just trying to help everybody out. However you can.
Yeah.
So if you're in town, definitely make sure you come by Southwick. And if not, I'll leave a link in the description below so that you guys can go and donate. And I don't know if the auction will be open to the public for the jerseys and everything.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
October 1st. Yep.
Perfect. October 1st. So make sure you watch that.
If you're in the area,
Exactly. If you're in the area, make sure you stop by. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a huge event. But if you're not, make sure you donate to the cause. It's super important to us, not only for the riders themselves, but just like you said,
the community.
And that's the biggest. It's something so special. particularly amongst the New England moto community. And I'm glad that that'll be a good occasion for us to really kind of showcase that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I want to touch base with you, Keith, specifically about what you said about looking towards the future for Southwick and some of the events you've got planned. I heard some things through the grapevine about a Stasic track that you guys put in at Southwick. I want to talk about what you're doing and the importance to you about really fostering the youth and encouraging youth riders to obviously participate and get involved. It's something really important to me. I'm an ambassador for All Kids Bike through Strider. If you didn't know, it's a program that implements learn to ride programs in kindergarten PE programs across America. So that is a mission I'm particularly really passionate about. And I know it's something that you guys are taking initiative with at Southwick. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So back in the day, for junior to start racing, you go spend a couple $100, you buy, this, and, spend a few hundred more, you buy a bike. But nowadays, to get into racing, it's expensive, right? And not all kids love the sound of dirt bikes. They're scared of the sound of dirt bikes. But as we get more technology advanced, right? Kids are spending more and more time behind computer screens, which as a parent of 11 and 12-year-old, it's aggravating, right? Because it's easy for them to get like glued to a screen, right?
Totally.
And back in the day, maybe not so much when you were a kid, but when we were kids, there was no such thing. It was either you go out and find something to do. You build a fort. You ride a bike. You go climb a car stack in the junkyard or whatever it is, right? You weren't spending time behind a computer screen, right?
Absolutely.
So parents know what I'm talking about. If you have a kid, you know what I'm talking about. And in the Stasic wave has really hit the U.S. or everything pretty hard. And when I went to Loretta's last year, the Stasic
kicked ass, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, let's
Boom.
by the way, he won the Masters class and
Champion.
beat out Jeff
Boom.
Emick.
Nice.
Kicked ass when
Let's-
he went to Loretta's. So
Yep.
yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But the presence that Stasic had there, they built their own track at Loretta's, and they had like the presence was just insane. I mean, the amount of Stasics there was just crazy. So my idea was to try to get people involved into two-wheel dirt without the expense or I don't know what I say, like nervousness of like a motor, right? So I'll take my daughter, for example. She's 11 years old. She wants nothing to do with riding a dirt bike, nothing. She will not get on a dirt bike. But Stasic now has a 20-inch Stasic bike, which is like a little BMX bike with a twist throttle and a front fork and suspension.
And it's almost completely silent.
Almost completely silent, and she'll ride the shit out of that thing.
Right.
Right, but she will not get on a dirt bike, right?
Totally.
It's almost the same thing, but different at the same time, right? So my idea is that you get these kids from 2, 3, 4, 5 years old introduced to riding two wheels on the dirt, and eventually they get into dirt bikes, 50cc, 65s, 85s, and so on and so forth, right? I mean, this is why Harley-Davidson bought Stasic, right? Because they understand that the more people
building
they
a
get
future
into two
market.
wheels
Introducing.
at a young age, the more chance they have to get into two wheels at 30, 40, 50 years old,
They're
right?
literally molding their own customer.
That's right. So they're not stupid, right?
Communism.
That's exactly what that is. Let's call it.
Right? What'd you say?
No, just kidding.
But that's my idea, is to try to get people involved, or the kids involved, like 2, 3, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, riding two wheels in the dirt, right?
Right.
So we brought in dirt. We're building a like nice little Stasic track. It's more like you would consider like a BMX track.
Sure.
Right? Like you would ride
Pump
a
track.
bicycle around.
Remember when Southwick used to have the BMX track?
I remember.
Do you guys remember that?
Well, I
Way
remember
back in the day.
It was on the other side, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
up
we're
on
by
the.
the
it was
I
up on
remember
track,
the
No,
RC track.
That was an RC crowd track.
There was
Yeah.
a BMX, little BMX.
No, they had
track.
I know the RC
Well,
track.
maybe
for sure.
it was the RC track that we used to ride BMX bikes.
It was an
remember?
RC
I
track
used-
slash
I used to ride
BMX
our
track.
BMX bikes up on that track up on the
Yeah.
right hand side.
You were riding illegally on
I
the
probably
RC
was. I'm
track.
sorry. I'm from Maine. I'm sorry.
Just so you know.
I didn't realize it. I'm sorry.
You didn't realize it.
So that's
Well,
where that
you
came
ju-
from.
You just
Yeah.
thought, oh,
Yeah.
I'm from Maine. They'll let it pass.
They'll let it pass. They'll let it slide.
Yeah. So I think even a lot like you said about, you know, the kids who might be, like you said, their bikes are loud. It's can be nerve wracking for them to get involved. I think a lot about the parents too, who maybe don't have a background in motocross at all, and they want to get their kid riding, but they don't know their way around a dirt bike, even themselves maybe, or they maybe don't feel comfortable just yet. And I think Stasics, like you said, is a really great transition piece for them, and it's really cool to see what you guys are doing there at Southwick, kind of really fostering that whole initiative.
Yeah, I remember my neighbor. I used to ride at my neighbor's house, and she would get mad because I put my leg out in the turn. She was nervous about that.
You're shredding the turn. You're like, oh, my leg's out.
Oh, he's not riding. He doesn't. Yeah, he's got to be safe. He can't put his leg out in the corner like that.
Well, she was
You're
right.
such a rebel.
Yeah,
Was that like a
way
rudder?
ahead of her time.
Yeah,
Like a
rudder.
rudder thing? Or?
No,
Double Dutch rudder.
but her son used to ride with like rubber gloves, hand washing gloves. Like that's what his gloves were.
Like yellow
when he rode.
Rubbermaid.
Absolutely, all the way up to like the elbow.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, he loved it.
So yeah, so there's a couple last things I want to touch on before we wrap up for the evening. This will definitely not be the last time we sit down and do this. You mentioned something to me that this was the first time tonight you guys got dinner before we joined up to film this. That this was the first time you guys all, just the four of you, sat together and had dinner. So I think that's super awesome, and I'm glad that we had an occasion to do that. But I'm loving this, and we definitely need to do it more often. But yeah, so a few more things I want to touch on. One thing you said about when I asked you about the new Stasics project and everything like that was how kids these days, I mean, there's no denying that electronics, computers, video games, all the things, handhelds, phones, TikTok, it's taking over. And it was, even in my generation, you know, I'm 25 and I look back growing up, I mean, I was really 10 before everybody had laptops and everything. So I still had a period where there was, you know, go outside and you ride your bike and whatnot. But like really before, I mean, talking way back when you guys were riding NESC, you know, way before my time, way before I was born.
Stop it.
That's important to me to say. It's funny because, you know, looking back at those times, everything that was happening before social media was popular. These days, everything gets posted to social media. And I mean, there's literally social media, like the Feld hosts media classes for the riders to teach them how to appropriately present themselves on social media so not to upset them or other sponsors. And that's a whole part of it. I mean, people worry about what gets posted. You know, maybe they think about social media before they go out and party because they're worried about things that could be seen. All of these things are considerations that weren't even thought of back in the day. Right. And I want to touch on that real quick because, you know, looking back, people say, you know, and again, this is before my time, so I'm solely basing this off of like interviews I watched, podcasts I've seen, things I've heard. It's like, you know, when Ricky Carmichael came around, he like set the tone for taking training super seriously. And he was, you know, it kind of started this wave of the real training programs and everything. Whereas, you know, beforehand, there was a lot of partying involved. There was a lot of drinking and people would go out and still race on Saturday. And that was, I mean, it was completely normal. From your guys' perspective, what was that time like, and how do you think that compares to modern racers? And, you know, I think, you know, just that whole, this is something that you guys never had to think about. And I'm just curious what your perspective on that is, looking back.
AJ?
So what I would say is like, I think it's evolved, right? So Ricky wasn't like the inventor of training, right? Like if you go back to like Johnny O'Mara and Bailey and guys like that, those guys were the ones that really took training seriously. But Ricky you know, having a personal trainer with Alden and those guys. What's different is nowadays, and if we had the map of what is a successful map for today, if we had that back when we were younger, then I wouldn't have hated John Dowd early on. I would have embraced it, and we would have been riding and training together from the get-go.
Sure.
Right? Nowadays, you got groups of guys just riding and training and pushing and pushing and pushing, and that's why these guys are separated by tenths of a second each lap, right? Where if us four had done that back in the day, then we might have all been national champions, right? But we didn't have that. We didn't know, right? And I think Ricky probably started that as far as the whole the training and how important it is and the facility sort of atmosphere. These guys took it upon themselves to do it kind of on their own, sort of say, right?
Right. As far as like the formalized like camp.
We did it like completely idiotically. We just did it like.
Well, there was no rhyme or reason.
There was no rhyme or reason.
We worked really hard, but we didn't have any scientific data.
I think Doug was the first guy that was like, I think you got a trainer, and you were like, I remember you were the first guy that would be like, oh, I have to, I'm running at this point, and I have to.
You guys would sleep all freaking morning, all right? You guys,
and the truth
if I
comes
wanted
out.
to go ride with you, I had to wait. You know, like that'd be like I'd have to go do
We had to
all
go ride
that
with you, Doug.
shit.
We had to
Because you guys wouldn't ride till late. You know, I like to get up and
I know.
fucking
Tread was a sleeper.
fucking ride and
Doug
just
would
go do what I
drive
had to
into
do.
the sand pit,
And we had to wait for
we had
Tread
to
'cause he would get
fucking
mad at
dig
us if
his
we didn't wait
van
for him.
out.
I couldn't wait.
We
I
had
was
to
just
dig
like,
his van
you
out
guys
in
go do
order
what you
to
gotta
like
do.
leave at the end of the day.
I know.
'Cause he would just
That doesn't make a
drive
lot
into
of sense
the
because
sand
we
pit,
were there
and then
before
we
you
would
were
just
there. I don't know
pound
what.
motos, and then we had to dig his sand. his
Something's
van
not
out.
adding up.
So like come on, like really. Let's be honest. Yeah. So whatever.
Tread would sleep all morning. You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? This guy right there used to drink Mountain Dew and Bebo. I didn't even know what Mountain Dew was until I met John Dowd.
I got Mountain Dew from you. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
all right, yeah, maybe you had Pepsi.
I remember picking on you about my. I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm
what?
sorry, maybe that, but you had Bebo's and all the other shit. And KJ, I don't even want to talk shit about you because I don't even want. Listen, I don't. You were saying shit. Doug was a little bit like off the radar.
I was
Doug,
off. I wasn't-
Doug lived
I
on his
wasn't
own,
part of
and
the
he just came and
cool
rode
gang.
with us, you know. So whatever. But he did park his van in the middle of a fucking sand pit, and we had to dig him out. So
Thanks for the help, man.
that's how we rolled.
Thank you, Betty.
Go pound motos and then dig the fucking van out.
Yeah. So that's the mentality of Doug Henry, right? Like drive into a sand pit, get your van stuck so bad that you can't drive out and just say, fuck it. I'll unload and just ride for the day. We'll figure it out after I ride, but I'm going to ride right now.
And guess what? And then we all have to, four of us, we all have to grab a tire.
I think his mindset was actually, I think I'll get these other couple suckers over here to dig me out after I'm done riding all day.
We'll pound motos. And
I'd
then,
say a little bit of both.
everybody had to pick a tire and then go, oh, we're going to dig it out for 7
would,
feet.
You know,
and
if
then,
you guys left me there, I would have got it out. I would have got it out.
He would have.
Hey, Doug, did
fucking
we leave you
many
there?
times
Did we leave you there?
longer, but I would.
He would have slept in that van and then rode at
We
that
never
track
left
for the next
anybody.
week straight.
Could have.
That's
That's an option. I see that.
He had enough
happening,
filters drying on the dash to
Yeah,
get him
he
through a
did.
week's worth of riding.
But we never left him. We didn't do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, but Dowdy was oh my God, that guy ate like shit. Made me fat. I don't know. I used to be a specimen until I met John Dowd.
It's his fault, huh?
You were a specimen.
Yeah, you were.
He was something.
Look at him. Can you do like a side
That's
shot
like-
of Jabba the Hutt?
Hey,
That's the picture of peak male performance
That's
right
it,
there.
right there. Until I met John Dowd, then I just started eating like
I'm
shit.
still hooked on those damn Mountain Dews, by the way.
And Tread, we became close friends. I want to say really what did it was Froggies. I don't know which. I have no idea which
One
year
of
at
those
Daytona.
years in Daytona.
Yeah, and that really solidified our relationship. Watching Hairball, I think.
My
was
daughter there with me. And
exactly.
My wife and
Exactly.
her helping me out, getting
Exactly. Having a great time.
drinking a little bit. I'm not sure what happened, but it was good.
But it's like, you know, I really look back at my life and how I was raised in the industry and how I've been able to, because I wanted to turn it into something where now it's my everyday career. This seemed like an easy part of that. I like speaking. I like to be on camera. I toured with corporate Honda for 5 years on the international auto circuit, presenting and narrating vehicles. I've, toured the Supercross and Pro Moto circuit for years and with different brands. And I just love the industry, you know? Yeah. And I think it's interesting. I for several years, I put this off because I'm not a racer. So I thought like the conversations that I could bring maybe wouldn't matter or be important, but there's so much more to it. And I look like, you know, what we did today, I think is proof of that. So
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Like legit, 100%.
I think it's nice.
get a
That,
bunch-
I
you
think
get a
it's
bunch of
nice
old
a
dudes,
chance.
too.
You know, like it's giving you a chance to kind of follow what you want to do a little bit, and you just kind of have an idea. Like I feel like growing up, you have a lot of ideas what you want to be and what you want to do and what you want to try,
Right.
and it's great to be able to just kind of experience as much as you can, and then if you could do something where you could sort of make some money at it, you know, that'd be great. You know,
exactly. That's
and,
even better, right?
yeah, and I don't know. I think like this whole project with the museum here, and the history in New England, and the racing in New England, Pepperell, Mass. I don't know. I wish I raced that track.
Me
I
too.
never raced it, but it was just
KJ
after
got
my
to.
time.
KJ's the only one of us that got to
Oh,
race it.
Yeah, I never raced
Pepperell,
it.
Mass.
we
So I
didn't
guess
have
it was a great track back in the day. But
I've heard.
Yep.
you know, just a lot of history in New England, and I'm glad that you're
Exactly.
kind of keeping the history going. You know, like it's
Right.
great to see the youth. You know, you two coming. You know, following your. You know, just a little bit of just your dad. You know, your dad got into it a little bit, and you guys sort of just kind of clung on to like little pieces. And it's great to see that you two are taking little pieces and just, you know, carrying just a little bit of the tradition. You know, like.
Right. Oh, thank you.
It's awesome to see, and I think all four of us would definitely love to be a part of it. You know, whatever you guys have going on. You know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'd love to do this again. There isn't really enough time in the day to sit down and like really talk about all the things that you guys have to say and that we could all, you know, really.
I think we got up to like what 1988, 89?
Yeah, and that's
We did really good.
We've
Yeah.
got 30
Awesome
more
today.
years to go,
We did
and
awesome.
there's so much, and I feel really lucky to have, you know, had the ability to do this because, you know, like you mentioned about kind of like really. We're lucky is what I'm going to say, because here in New England, it's so unique in the culture that has been forged here around motocross and the family, the community, and it's a 40 plus year long story. I mean, and it's generational. You, your son, my dad, his kids, and your parents, and all of the things. And every time, you know, part of my job too is traveling the country and meeting people all around the world, really, who are in the industry. And every time someone finds out I'm from New England, every single time someone in the industry finds out I'm from New England, they ask me about one of you without fail, every time. And, you know, or they, you know, and it's about what, you know, just New England. It's so, everybody knows, it's no secret to everyone what a special community it is. And you guys are a large part of what formed that to be what it is today. And, you know, there will be a time where we can sit and talk about the future of New England Moto, you know, all of that. And KJ, you're a big part of forming that as well. You know, your training school with Chris every Wednesday is a big part of forming the future of that. And of course, all the initiatives at the track, not only with yours, Dogs, with the Legends ride that we're going to be raising money for, and also in the Stasics track. We've got a really good thing going here in New England, and it's important to me that we capture that, not only here in the museum. I mean, this will live on here forever. This will never go away. But I think the stories that we have to tell are important, and I want them to be able to live on forever here on audio, and that's what we're going to do here.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To be continued.
TV,
Yeah.
DBC, to be continued.
Do you have like do you have an idea of what you're gonna do for, like, as far as podcasts? Like, do you have a thought, like a vision of what you'd like to do for the podcast for here?
Yeah, like I have a few dream guests in mind and a few lined up and stuff. But part of me is like, I haven't thought of a good name for it because I don't know. I got worried about, if I honed in too much solely on New England Moto or even Moto itself or anything like that, I might box it in too much. But I think it's really important to, like I touched on before, really just put all of this to the forefront. And my biggest thing is I like to put this, a future goal of mine is to be on scene doing these things. I'm going to Destinations next week at Redbud. Are any of you guys going to be there?
No, we were just talking about that. We're not going.
Maybe.
What the hell?
I don't know. I'm on the fence. On the fence.
Well, I'll be there. I'll be working. But I plan to bring all my equipment. Whoever wants to have these are the types of things I want to do. I would bring all of this stuff also to Southwick if we, for October 1st, if we wanted to sit and whatever. Obviously, if not, that's fine too. But I just mean
If you bring beer, we'll be good.
Exactly. We've got that whole cooler is still pretty full. So
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
I want to take these conversations on the road. I want to just do some good shit. So
All right.
thank you guys for joining me.
I'm glad you're doing this.
Thank you,
I'm glad, try to promote racing, riding, two wheels, motorcycling, and the love of the sport. The love of the sport, the love of riding. So it's great when it kind of keeps trickling down.
Right.
Yeah, let's keep passing it on. Two wheels,
Hell yeah.
dirt bikes.
I had fun with my boys.
It's
So.
fun shit.
That's what I wanted to
Literally,
hear.
this
Family,
was a good,
It's
fun
good times.
time.
It's
I'm
really
fun
good
time with
times.
my buddies. So.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of this.
Yeah. Thank you
It's
for
really
having
awesome
us.
that you seem to have a passion for this whole sport kind of thing in general, and you and Junior and your dad, and it's really cool to see you guys kind of
Flashback to 1989, living in Florida.
Come a long way since then, eh?
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Don't drink to that.
But it just
You know,
seems
what's the
like it's
thought?
not that long. Like I go back to it.
Right.
Like that.
On
You
one
know,
hand,
I go
seems
back
like
to it
just
so
yesterday, but
fast.
on the other hand,
Yeah,
it's like, man, that was like,
Another life.
how long ago was that?
So
It's
crazy.
junior high, dickhead.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll link all of these guys, everything in the description below between their socials, all of their links for the events that are coming up, and where you can also donate for that charity fund. So thank you again to these guys for joining me. It means the world to me, and I'm super thankful. And make sure you go support everything that these guys do. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Cool.